Welcome to the Dividend Domain. My name is Jay. So I'm starting a new series called F.i.r.e, where I am working to build a fire portfolio in Robinhood. Just a little bit about myself. I've been investing for 10 years plus, crypto markets, stock market, 401k, Roth. Just looking to free myself financially on this journey. So you can follow me on the Dividend Domain on TikTok, Instagram, and on YouTube as well. I'll be posting content as frequently as possible, but not only that, any ETFs I'm considering to get into. My buys, you can see here. Click on this video. That's my DCAs from Bitcoin. I have some DCAs going back to 2017 for Bitcoin, so that's a little crazy to see. But yeah, I'll be posting that. Different ETFs, high income, standard like SEHD, where you get lower yields. I've purchased those ETFs, but what currently fits my plan within the next, I'd say, 3 to 5 years, looking to soft retire or have the option to retire. And I think this strategy is what this focus in this series and this portfolio is for. I will be posting other content on this channel, but the first video is just starting this series, and I wanted to get it going before I had too much invested into portfolio. And just to let you know, I do use Robinhood for some time, but this is going to be the current value we're looking at. So I would like to show, this is my strategy for the most part. We're looking at growth ETFs, high yield, and this is the core. So for growth, this is basically my own form of ETF where I'm going to build some individual stock. I have SCHG as an anchor, allocating desired 50% and then 25% to each of these categories. So I recently just purchased these, so I can show you again, and then we'll go back. Looking at the core, what I'm building for the core is SPYI, QQQI, of which I'm going to allocate 60% to QQQI and another 40% to SPYI. Now, this what I would consider the higher yield, riskier income plays, 30% and up, well, 25 to 30 ranging for BTCI. So I want to allocate 34% in this section. Hui is, which is Hood. I own this in another portfolio, of which I bought it here because it's performed pretty decently in the recovery, and I can eventually show you some charts on that. But I'll allocate 33% here. This Misty I already had in the account. I just left it, so I sold most of it off, but then I'll leave what's here and just leave it as is. But as you can see, I'm down 33% on this Misty, and that's only 4 shares left. So that'll become a smaller portion of the portfolio over time. And then I just picked up some NVIDIA for Yield Max. Not a fan of a lot of the NAV erosion in some of these funds. I had Ulti as well in another account. I sold that off, and maybe that'll be a talk for another time, but the focus is this series, so it'll be 33% allocated here as well. Now, I have a small percentage of cash, and that's just to pay the Robinhood fee. But so far you can see there's some history on this account with some of these ETFs, so there is a positive, and right now I'm at about a 16.323% passive yield. I want to get this to about, I'd say, anywhere from 25 to 35. 25 on the safer side, but majority of this portfolio will be 60% high yielding, but then having some growth here to keep it balanced off. And these stocks, obviously, they're very volatile. If you dealt with cover call or even leverage ETFs, especially if it's based on the individual stock, the underlying. So now moving on, here's some of the buys that we had and the sales. I sold Cornerstone. I usually buy like a little smaller position if I want to monitor the ETF, and that's what that was. Did that as well with SPYG, but I ended up looking at the chart and comparing different tech ETFs, And based on my needs, I think SEHG suits it. It's a little bit more diverse, and I've had history with this ETF. So I've had some decent returns from it. So I did buy that. Amazon, SPYI, Visa, some QQQI, NVIDIA, of what you've seen. Now, what I'm anticipating is to front load this ETF. Sorry, this portfolio with high yield ETFs and growth ETFs, some single stock, as you've seen, maybe a 50% allocation within this sector of growth. And I'm planning to allocate another 2,500 tomorrow. And I'm using Snowball Analytics to track everything. In Robinhood, if you're familiar with the platform, it doesn't give you much data or information to pull from. So this is key. And you can choose in here under this tab in tools, portfolio rebalancing. After you've selected the allocations for the portfolio, you can put in the amount of money that you want to deposit. And then it gives you a breakdown based off of the allocations that you set up for this account right here. So now tomorrow, these are more than likely what I'm going to buy for the portfolio. So you could see here for QQQI suggesting I buy additional 500 shares for QQQI, SEHG 400 shares, BTCI, so forth. And you can see again, it shows the percentage that you desire to allocate and where you're at. And another cool thing about this tool is it shows you, like, if you're below your cost basis, the current price, it'll put this sign up here so you know where to allocate those funds. If you want to put more to lower your cost basis, then you can do so. And then you can also do it by balance of asset, which is how it's categorized now, the allocation, or you can do it by balance of categories, and you'll see it changes. So it looks at the categories overall, and it slightly changes the allocations for you, and you have a choice of focus. So it shows right here, Amazon right now, again, below my cost basis. And then what this says, it says this transaction will balance your portfolio. The current stock price is less than your average purchase price, right? So lower than your cost basis, which brings down your cost basis. So this is an excellent tool that I've been using on one of my other portfolios, and I use on here as well to kind of help me allocate these tools, or allocate these funds using these tools, I should say. All right. And this is overall to give you a look. This is based on my holdings, and then it gives a total return. And this is why I really like Snowball Analytics, because you can track and see your total returns on here of dividends received so far. And then it gives you your total profits versus the capital gains and total profit. And then we also have a dividend calendar, which makes it a lot easier for you to track your payments. And for this portfolio, I'm choosing to, if we go here, I'm choosing to drip only these growth funds, right? These individual stocks. Everything else is going to be manually dripped. All of these will be manually dripped. And with this portfolio in Robinhood, let's jump to Robinhood. I actually started margin. So what I'm doing is not using margin until I grow this portfolio organically from my W-2 income input. So right now, I can use up to 2,867, right, of margin. Obviously, you want to keep that equity balance, but I plan to not probably pull margin until I get at least like 10K in there, and then I'll maybe keep a small percentage of equity for margin. And tomorrow I will be buying more, so I should update this video I'll show you more tomorrow once I have made these purchases, but so far, this is just to give you a general overview of what I have purchased so far. And obviously, it's a start of the portfolio, so it's small, but I'm probably going to front load it. We will see. I already have investments in other areas. I still DCA crypto. I still DCA my retirements and my other taxable brokerage and Fidelity. So this is a side project for me in a sense. Using margin, I typically don't use margin. So if you can, like and subscribe, tune into this journey. And again, you can follow me on all other platforms, TikTok, Instagram. I do have an X. I haven't posted on X yet, but I will start posting on X as well. And then comment below if you are using margin, do you use it for living expenses? Are you using your margin for purchasing more assets? Are you option plays? Do you turn drip on? What ETFs would you suggest for this series? I'm open to suggestions, honestly. Anything to build a community, and I will be sharing any gems that I come across. And I also use, I'll show you this last before we get off here. I do use a spreadsheet that kind of gives me a general idea of where or how I want to allocate my funds. And I get an annual income and then a monthly. And then I have it pulled from Google Finance and I think Finviz and maybe another site. But say, for example, if I want to look at QQQ, it'll pull up that information. And then it's like the current price, market value based on the shares I'll allocate. And then here's the dividend yield. And then this is the annualized payout. And then you can multiply that times the amount of shares. And then that's how I come up with this number. So when I am choosing to buy ETFs and I do want to increase my yield, it's a combination of using this, which I'll develop more as we go, using this spreadsheet, which is pretty basic. And then on top of that, taking the information from Snowball Analytics. All right. So again, thank you for joining me on this video. Like, comment, subscribe, put on post notifications. Dividend Domain on the Dividend Domain on all platforms now. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day, evening, or morning.